Hey y'all, how you doing? I'm doing all right. Just finished feeding Jet her wet food for the night, and I'm gonna be working on my diamond painting a little bit before I go to bed. So fun. Had my counseling today. Was very in depth today. um, Last week we were talking about my need of continuing to buy the tarantulas because I keep saying no more, and then I keep buying more. And last week we talked about it being one of my coping mechanisms to keep myself from dealing with other people, but also keep myself from feeling not good enough about myself. So we ended up talking more today about all that, and it's something I've been doing for a very long time. In the past 5 months since Lovey died, I bought 21 large diamond paintings, and by large I mean about a foot by a foot and a half. And it's not that I need them. I have others to do, but it's just a compulsion I have that I see them and I'm like, okay, I need to have it because I don't have it yet, and I've not had it before. So I've been doing that lately. But from the time I've been in my 20s, I've been compulsively buying things to keep from dealing with life. I've always done it with books, but it's because I used to always read really fast. When I was a teenager, I could literally read a book a day. Of course, not ones that are 700 to 1,000 pages, but a couple hundred, 200-300 pages. I could finish them in a day, easy. And I've been collecting books since I was a teenager. So that I don't consider that to be detrimental for anything. And I've always collected movies as well. I used to have a big VHS collection when VHS started going out and DVDs came in. In 2002 I got my first DVD, and 21 years later I've got about 1,200 plus a bunch of series. But also, I consider those educational somewhat as well. I don't do that for any other reason but because I enjoy movies. Others like TV. I'm a movie person. But once I learned how to cross stitch, I was, man, every time I went to a store that sold them, I would buy. And my mom was being a mom out of guilt when I got older and had gotten married and had my son. Well, both my sons. So every time I would see her, she would, buy everything I wanted. If whenever she came out to the beach, there were stores that she liked to go to that were specific for cross stitching. And she would get herself stuff, but, she'd always be like, well, what do you see that you want? And I know she did that out of guilt due to the lack of love and affection she gave me as a child. So I kind of did the compulsive buying then, and when I had the kids, it wasn't as much of a compulsion. I focused on, making sure the bills were paid, making sure we had food, getting the kids whatever they wanted, and, I didn't focus quite as much on myself at that point. After I moved out here, I got really into compulsively buying again. I ended up getting into my coloring, and man, when I did that, I went all out. Every time I'd go out, I'd buy more coloring books. I would be ordering gel pens all the time off Amazon. Just, all of that. And then I found diamond painting in 2018 or 2019, one of the two. And once I found that, same thing. I mean, I went freaking all out. I bought, hundreds in a short amount of time. I did them almost as quickly. But it was the same thing. And I always told myself it's because I'm an all or nothing kind of person. Sorry. Fruit fly. When it comes to my personality, I am an all or nothing kind of person. Especially when it comes to relationships. I'm never a halfway person. When I am yours, I am yours 1,000%. But when things go bad, you're gone, and there's no turning back for me. And I've always used that to describe my every aspect of my life. It's either all or nothing. So when I find a craft, I'm all in, and I buy tons, and that's just the way it is. That's the way I've always been. But with talking with Jasmine last week, it's made me realize that I'm using these things to keep myself from dealing with anxiety, lack of self-esteem, and that all of these things that I keep compulsively buying, I'm doing it from a place of fear and the lack of actual human relationships. And I'm continuing my therapy so I can know the things I'm doing wrong and get to the bottom of why I'm doing those things. Because I can't change something I don't acknowledge I'm doing wrong. You know, if I don't admit it, then, you know, how can I change it? And the whole point is for me to get better and to be a better person. I'm sorry, I've got gnats, fruit flies from a mouse that Jet caught and I gave to my tarantula. So I'm still trying to clear them out. But I'm trying to not stay the same damaged person that I've been for so long. So I have to come to terms with the anxiety I get when I get out of my comfort zone, which is usually when I end up buying stuff. Damn it. I like being home. I'm a homebody by nature anyway, but I've become more so since I split with my husband, and home is where I want to be. But I need to stop hiding from the world. I don't want to be that creepy, crazy lady that never leaves her house. I don't want to be that person. And the first step I've taken to changing that is I've been looking at the library website every few days to see what they've got coming up. And instead of just looking and saying, oh, okay, well, you know, that looks interesting, maybe I'll go, I'm setting an alarm on my clock, on my phone, with what the class is, what time it is. So when it comes up, I get up and I go to it. Because, you know, for me, missing an appointment is non-negotiable. I cannot miss an appointment, especially, due to my medical issues. So therefore, I know that if I just say, oh, well, maybe I'll go, I'm probably going to come up with an excuse not to go. But if I set it as an alarm on my phone, then in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is a commitment that I've got. I'm going to it. So that's been very helpful for getting me out of the house a little bit more. Next time I go to town, I'm going to stop by the couple places in town that offer painting courses. And I'm going to see about signing up for some of those, because I really enjoyed the painting class at the library on the 13th. That was fun as hell. I had a great time. And I want to do more of that. So, the library doesn't really have a whole lot of the classes scheduled at this point. And I want to make sure I keep going out. So I'm going to look into it, put money aside so I can go to the classes, and make sure I get out more. That I stop using my tarantulas, my crafting, my pain. I stop using those as excuses to stay home. Because I do need to be out more. It's not good for me to be alone as much as I am. And on the flip side of that is, I do miss being around people. But my insecurities keep me feeling not good enough. So instead of putting myself out there and dealing with it, I just stay home and don't worry. I like my own company. I'm surrounded by the things I enjoy while I'm at home. And that's okay for me. So, damn little fruit fries. So I am taking steps to combat the self-isolation. But while Jasmine and I were talking, she was asking me questions about, she knows that, she knows I compulsively have been buying my tarantulas and my diamond paintings. But when she heard about my cross-stitching, my coloring, DVDs, books, that kind of stuff, she was wondering if it was more an OCD thing or a hoarding thing. So she showed me some picture, which I've seen hoarding shows and stuff like that. So I know a hoarding situation. But for me, everything, the crafts that I get and that I have, they're put in a place and it's not overflowing everywhere. My craft room is, I've got the closet, my stuff is in the closets, and, my books are all in bookshelves, my DVDs are in my DVD holders, my house is a little bit cluttered, but the only parts that are super cluttered are rooms that I don't really use, that I put everything from the other house in after my ex moved. I had to get everything out because my brother, wanted his house. So when my youngest son had come to visit in 2019, we took everything out, and I didn't really have a place for it, so I just threw everything in the front rooms and just kind of left it there because I thought my ex was going to come and pick his stuff up in a reasonable time frame, which he still hasn't to this day. So my intention is to start to go through that stuff that I have in there, start getting rid of the things that are not needed. Anything that's his that I think he might want to keep at some point, I might put aside in my spare bedroom. But for the most part, the rest of it's just going to go to Goodwill or something. Because obviously it isn't that important, or he would have gotten it by now. Some of the things that are important I know some things I have are important to him, like pictures his mother painted, and I have those that I have put away, and I won't get rid of those things. I will, continue to give him the opportunity to come get them, but I need to get my house back in order for me. One of the things Jasmine asked me is, do I have a hard time getting rid of things? And I'm like, oh, hell no. I'm the kind of person that, every few years I go through stuff, and if I haven't used it within, 3 to 5 years, it's out of here. I am not about keeping stuff that I don't need, except for my crafts, which I don't need them, but they make me feel secure. So I keep them. But, my finished diamond paintings, I need to get them all sealed with the clear coat so I can start listing them and hopefully start selling them. And because of my hands shaking, I don't do the cross stitch anymore, which I wish I could. And I'm going to try and do small projects like the beaded ornaments that I like to do. But I have so many large projects, not only the ones that I bought, but the ones my mom had. And realistically, I will never get them done. So I'm going to start going through them and hopefully sell them as well. That way, because looking towards the end of my life, I don't want my kids to go through what I did, which when my grandmother died, it took me 5 months of coming out here almost every weekend to clean out her house because she had hoarded stuff like my mom did. And I couldn't move into her house until I got everything out. So I had to do that. And then when my mom died, same thing. I had to go through her stuff and get rid of all the stuff that I didn't want. And, Dad had no need for it. So I had to go through and go through all of her stuff too. And I don't want that to be my legacy to my kids. I don't want them to have to come into a house filled with things that I couldn't get rid of and that I compulsively bought because I was trying to hide from myself. I don't want that to be my legacy to my kids. So I am going to start cleaning things up, getting pictures of stuff, and getting them sold, hopefully. Hopefully. Because I want to be a more normal person. I'll never be any kind of normal, really, but I want to be the person I know I should be, not the eccentric hermit that hoards shit. I don't want to be that person. So I said very, very deep talks with Jasmine today. She's got a training class next week, so I won't be able to see her again for 2 weeks. So next week I have the week off, and then I'll see her again in the following week. But it's hard to admit sometimes that you're doing things from a place of fear and that it's not good for you. But now I am aware. Oh, damn fruit fly. Now that I am aware, I am going to not buy anything else unless it's something I need for the house per se. I'm not going to be buying any more of my diamond paintings, no more tarantulas for at least the rest of the year. Probably longer than that, we'll see. But it's small steps that are going to make the difference. And I'm doing those small steps, which will eventually get me to where I want to be. So, yeah, been a day. Been a day. But as always, if you've watched this, I thank you. I appreciate it very much. I hope my words can maybe help you realize that, the things you do, they can come from a good place or a bad place. And when they're coming from a bad place, it's not good for you. So I hope my words maybe help help you all start healing if you're having issues like I do. But I am going to go ahead and end this now. Get my zapper and kill these fucking fruit flies that are killing me. Little bastards. But I will talk to y'all in the next video. And I hope y'all have a wonderful night. And I love you. Bye.